It's finally here. My most epic build yet. A giant foam castle. Completely modular. It completely comes apart. Every level is playable. Complete with flickering LED lights, a tower, a great hall, winding staircase, and more. This week on Tabletop Witchcraft. Hey there, welcome back to Tabletop Witchcraft. It's finally here. I'm so excited to share with all of you this castle build. It's been months in the making and a lot of planning to make all my other builds, the foam fort, the sinister chapel, holy chapel, the shrine, all fit into one. You'll notice a lot of techniques from my old videos are all in this, the flickering lights, the scroll, and more. I got a really special announcement that I'm going to reveal about my channel at the end of this video, so stick around for that, as well as an awesome montage I made about the castle. So, let's go grab some supplies and let's get crafting.
Alright, you can head over to DriveThruRPG and print these off if you'd like. It will make this build a little bit easier because there are some pretty irregular shapes here to the castle. This is a 24 by 36 plan. If you download the plans, you'll get it in that format, as well as 11 by 17. And you want to cut the first floor out, trace it onto some XPS, using a Proxon. You could use a straight edge too. Cut that out. Then make some measurements here for your walls. You can make those right off of the plans. And my walls here are standard like all my other ones, about 2.5 to 3 inches tall. Then we'll go ahead and cut the front gate out. And then you're going to go ahead and trace each layer of the gate onto the front wall, as you see here. Alright, once you have those traced out, head over to the Proxon. On a low heat, about 1.5, close to 2 maybe. You want to go ahead and cut all those out, everything that you've marked up. And this will help us offset the castle gate so it looks like it's got some dimension to it. Then we'll take some aluminum foil, texture it, use an X-Acto knife, score our stonework, use a pen to define those lines. Then for the wood door, we'll go ahead, add some wood texture. You can check above, I'll put a link to how I make my doors. And I'll do that a little bit later in the video. Here's the gate. We're going to cut this out here out of a solid piece of foam. That way we don't have to mess with a bunch of individual little pieces of foam. And we'll go ahead and hot glue all of these pieces together. And you should be left with something that looks close to that. Now we'll go ahead and cut out the floor template from the plan to put our grid work down, score it with an X-Acto, then define those lines with a pen. Obviously skip this step if you don't use a grid or if you're going to make this castle not playable from the inside. Now here we're going to cut a piece out to extend the castle gate and door all the way down to the ground. And you're pretty much just following the same pattern as the original gate itself. And the reason we do that is in this version it's all playable on every level, so it needs to come apart. Now we're just sticking some pins in the gate for a little bit more detail. And then using our foam roller that I did in a previous video, I'll put a link above, save us a ton of time on this build. We're just going to roll our stonework right out onto the walls. You want to make sure you texture that XPS foam too with some aluminum foil before you roll it. Now I've got a bunch of walls made up and I'm just going to glue them together using some scrap XPS as little supports on the inside. Now here's a really cool trick to make curved pieces of XPS foam. Go ahead and cut a bunch of these little grooves out, and then using your finger or whatever you got handy, pull all of them out. That's going to allow you to bend that foam without breaking it. So we'll texture it, we'll pin it with some cute toothpicks to one side of the castle wall, curve it right into the other. some more hot glue, pin that side as well. And here's the secret. Put some hot glue into each one of those crevices and then connect them all together just like that. And when that cures or hardens, it's going to be completely solid. Now, as you've seen in some of my past videos, we're just going to magnetize this. So just add some magnets to the corners, again making sure the polarity is in the right direction. Now I'm doing one here, but you can add a whole bunch of these around the whole top wall of the castle to help hold the top floor on. You can see them all there. Add a little bit of tacky glue and you'll be good to go. And then just take the next level, cut that out using the plans, and then just push that right into place. Alright, now using the plan, we'll go ahead and cut out some windows here. We're marking out the first part of the window that we're going to cut completely out. We've taken it out now. Now we're going to mark out the second part of the window that we're just going to score about 1/8 of an inch down with an X-Acto knife and then peel out, as you see here, just to put a little dimension to these windows. Alright, now here I'll link above my door video, how I make doors, and I'll also link above my green stuff video where I make all these door handles out of leftover green stuff. So check both of those out. Now this is the walls for the tower section. Cool little secret here. If you're going to do these walls and they start bending on you a little bit, just take a barbecue skewer and run it right through the full length, and that'll stiffen it right up, keep them straight. Now we're going to add the top floor of the tower. And then go ahead and, using the plan, cut out the parapet design here, and then trace that onto some XPS foam and cut it out. And then we're going to cut these corner parapets out. These are, pretty large. Just follow that shape right there. You're going to hot glue them and stick them onto all the corners of the castle. It's about a 1.5 inch wide block by, I think it's 2.5 inches tall. Now there's the parapet. You're going to define those lines with a pen, foil it for some texture. Nice, it's all one solid piece. You don't have to worry about a bunch of little sections there. Now here, very important, cut that top left corner parapet out so it's not square like the one on the right. It's going to be important to add the foam tower from our garrison build we did a few weeks back. Now there, you do have to cut the parapets out individually for that angle. Now you can just go ahead and cut all these floor pieces out and stack them on top of each other one at a time. And you're never going to see those stack lines the way we're going to texture it and put our brickwork. Just like that. And this is going to be removable, so you can use this on other builds as well. And we'll just go ahead and do some flagstone design work for the top of the steps. As you can see, there's no way you can see the foam lines there. Now under the stairs, we're going to make a little jail cell. So we're just going to make one of our windows, our doors, and cut a window out, inserting a few toothpicks for some prison bars. And should look something like that. And again, I used leftover green stuff to make these door handles. They're quick and easy to make, they're fun to make, and they look excellent all painted up. Alright, now we're just going to add some corner blocks. And then we'll put some parapets going down the stairwell as well. Now for the buttresses around the castle, we're going to make these triangular pieces and then cut a slice off the bottom, pinning it with some toothpicks and hot glue, and then sliding it into place. The reason we do this, again, it's all playable every level, so this allows you to take the castle apart, making sure there's no glue on that bottom section like that, stick that into place, putting our grout line where that seam is. So again, you really won't see that as well. Alright, here I'm just cutting a whole bunch of those corner blocks. Cut them into that rectangular shape and then cut an L out of them, like that. And that will allow you to cover up all your edges of foam. And then just some small rectangular blocks to cover up the floor as well. Now this is a 5-inch ball of styrofoam I got from a local craft store. Cut it in half twice. And then texture it with our foam roller. And when you go forward and back, just make sure to keep angling the foam ball, and then you'll have a constant stonework around it, so it'll look good. And then we'll add our balcony. Again, obviously we're pinning everything with toothpicks and hot glue here. And then we'll glue that quarter of a stone or styrofoam ball underneath that. And then add some parapet around the top of that. Then we'll mark out our sewer for the castle and cut that out. And then all I used was a little bit of chicken wire for the grate, added some stonework, and then a piece of chipboard I painted black. Now I'm just painting a few eyes on it. That way, you know, when someone takes a look in that thing, it's not just a black sewer grate. They actually got something cool to check out. Okay, now I made a ladder to get to the top of this tower section out of some barbecue skewers. Just cut them all to fit using a little bit of hot glue. And now we're going to work on a chimney. I'm just using a straw here and putting a little hot glue in it using the barbecue skewer that's been bent to hold it in place. Cut it out like that and then add a little bit more hot glue. And then I made a little cap out of some cardboard, and then using some green stuff and made some banding to cover up the sections of straw, and then just add a few rivets or little holes to act as rivets around the top. Then we'll head over to the windows while that's curing, and we'll put a little raised section over each window, and then Mod Podge the whole castle. That's Mod Podge, a little bit of water, and black paint. Then we'll paint the whole thing with an apple barrel gray, dry brush it with a light color, pretty heavy dry brush. You can see the difference here, how heavy I went between those two sides there. And this should be what it looks like once you've got it all dry brushed. Then you go ahead and give it a wash, black wash the whole thing, and when that dries you can go ahead and hit it one more time with a light dry brush like I'm doing right here. And you want to make sure you're going in a downward motion if you can, where the light's coming from. Now we're just adding some color and some ooze, I guess, to the sewer. Just using some different colors of green, light green, dark green, a little bit of like a brown or a leather color in there. Make sure to fill in the cracks and that ledge. Now I'm using some Vallejo water texture. When this dries, it'll dry clear. It looks just like water kind of floating in there. So have it oozing out around the edge. This is a little grass tuft I'm just going to kind of stick in there. Now with some PVA glue and just some flocking, just mix that up, and when that dries it looks like moss. It looks really cool. And I ended up going around pretty much this whole sewer grate with that. Now we'll tap a few holes here. These skewers I got online. I'll put a link to everything I'm using for Amazon in the description below, so you can see all the materials I've used. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Then for the cross bracing, we're going to use a little super glue, and then some accelerant to cure that super glue instantly. I love this stuff. Again, that'll be in a link below. Then can paint it all, you know, metallic color, give it a reddish brown kind of wash to rust it up, and then dry brush it one last time. Now for the doors, you know, we put some detail in there for those little nail holes or rivet holes. You want to make sure that people can see those, so with just a little bit of silver or a metallic color, touch each hole, and it will really make each one, you know, show. And we'll do some edge highlighting on the door handle as well with that same metallic color. Now we're going to go ahead and take that same rust color you can see in the background. It's like a dark red and a leather brown. Mix those with some water, and that makes an awesome rust color. And where, you know, all the crevices are and stuff like that, just go ahead and touch it where it'll be dripping down from the top of that cap. Once those are dry, you can stick those into the side of the castle with a little bit of hot glue, and then take some more of that rust that we made up and have it dripping down the castle wall here. Alright, then using a little PVA glue, we'll hit up the wall here, and then we're going to go ahead and you can either use, you know, some charcoal dust, pastels, pigment, some black pigment there, and that's just going to look like, you know, smoke that's kind of built up on the castle wall. Now this might look familiar if you've seen my video in the past on the scrolls. This is where it came from. We're going to put just a little post in the wall there, and then making a scroll, we're going to stick it right on the outside of the jail cell. I'll put a link above to that video if you want to check it out. There's free plans where you can download and print off your own scrolls. Alright, now we're just going to heat up a pin, poke a hole through here so that we can add our simple LED torch. I'll put a link above, a card above, where you can go ahead and see how those are built as well.
Hang on just 1 second. I don't want you to miss that montage at the end of this video. It's coming up in just a second, and it's totally epic. But first, a real quick shout out to everybody that subscribed to my channel and takes the time out of their day to watch my content, as well as everybody that goes to DriveThruRPG and downloads my plans. Thank you. I just want you to know that that money goes right back into the channel to make these videos bigger and better. That being said, my big news, I now have Patreon. I know a lot of people have been asking about it, and I got 9 tiers over there, ranging from access to my private Facebook page, The Coven, to Discord chat with me, to getting a crafting crate with materials and something that I even crafted. If that interests you, head on over there and check it out. I got some awesome builds coming up in the next few weeks. I can't wait to release those. So, until next time, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for all further notifications here on Tabletop Witchcraft, and I'll see you around. Roll that montage.